Da er vi live, men vi har blitt forflyttet av da får vi bare flytte oss i siste sekundet, og da blir det litt forsinkelse, men vi er i gang. Jeg håper... Hallo, Ragne. Kan du holde deg litt, Ragne?
Hei. Er det filming nå? Nå er du live. Hei, hei. Vi klarer dette. Hei alle som ser på. Det er hyggelig at dere kan se på når vi er her. Det begynner å bli masse folk. 6. Worldwide Rally for Freedom. Kanskje det siste, kanskje vi vinner denne gangen. Nå kommer det masse ting opp i verden. Og når det først begynner å rakne, så rakner det innmari fort. Jeg tror det kommer til å bli heftig fremover. Men vi skal holde dette her, og vi skal gjøre det jævlig bra. Folk er klar for at alt kommer opp i dagen.
Flagget vet jeg ikke. You're the man of the... Hvor skal han sette flaggene da? Nei.
Men
er vi klare, spør
jeg må holde med... Har vi bare en mikrofon?
Oi, kan noen forklare om det beste livestream sånn, eller på andre siden?
Vi må ha den litt høyere. Stille litt...
Men jeg skal nok ha hjelp når jeg kommer opp hit.
Ja, du skal få hjelp. Ja, vi har ikke scene, så da blir det impro. Se, er vertikal eller horisontal bra? Det begynner sånn. Sånn får det bare være nå. Kan ikke gjøre noe med så mye nå. Hallo? Hei, Oslo! A warm welcome to Worldwide Rally for Freedom! We are representing Norway! Together with Tromsø! Trondheim! Bergen! Kristiansand! Porsgrunn! All across the world, more and more people are turning to the streets. Hundreds of thousands of people in at least 150 giant demonstrations. In France, the UK and Ireland. Germany, Austria, Romania, Serbia. The Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark and Sweden. Hong Kong, Canada, and Australia. In total, more than 150 giant demonstrations worldwide, because we are all for freedom, and freedom for all. Everyone together now, can we say 3 times? All for freedom, freedom for all, all for freedom, freedom for all for freedom, freedom for all. Because we realize the urgency to save our future societies. Don't we all agree that we now see the warning signals of technocracy glowing in red? Yes. And we represent both vaccinated and unvaccinated men and women, because
The global power is starting to show its true face of surveillance, segregation, and digital slavery. And we just can't sleep.
Because the warning signs are so many and so clear. Our governments support censorship of the so-called misinformation that brought so many here today. They want smart cities, they want Corona Pass, and many other things that altogether point in the same direction of global surveillance and control.
In Austria, there are at least 30% unvaccinated people, and they are faced with a fine of $15,000 a year. And if they don't pay, they will be put in prison. From mid-March, the police is supposed to start checking people in the streets.
And in just a few years, if we let this happen, the police will be replaced by automatic checkpoints and robots. And if that happens, we have lost the free world. Shall we let that happen?
History has shown what happens when a group of people is being segregated and blamed, always with the excuse of fake science, paid science, or no science at all, as is the case with Corona passports.
And we know what future awaits us if the Corona passport is implemented. The media doesn't speak much about a nightmarish social credit system in China, which is punishing and rewarding, robbing and tracking all Chinese citizens. The media doesn't let us worry too much about it because our governments don't have a problem with it.
But is it okay that an entire populations in the world are being treated this way? Do we want a social credit system?
Do we want the Corona passport?
For 2 years, we have all been bullied with mask mandates, quarantines, and forced testing, just because our government said we couldn't quarantine a group of the elderly, the most vulnerable. They said it would be discriminating, while these hypocrites think it's perfectly okay to discriminate anyone who doesn't take the vaccine.
Is this right? Is this about health? Both in Norway and in other countries, the media reports that there's public support for the Corona passport. But can we trust their polls?
And anyways, if there should be a majority for the Corona pass,
Which we seriously doubt.
is it okay to strip the unvaccinated of all basic rights just because they are a minority?
No! The vaccinated people feel fooled. Now they must have a third shot to make the Corona passport valid. And more people understand that this is a battle to save our freedom for all future generations to come. But we will never comply. We will never comply with orders, with an ideology. We will never comply with an ideology that has the wrong answers to the following questions. Who decides over our bodies?
Who makes decisions for our children?
We! Who decides what we can speak about?
Who decides where we can travel?
We! Who decides who we can meet? We!
The truth is hard to suppress much longer. In the US, they have a 40% rise in death rate in the third quarter of 2021. The COVID statistics don't make up for it. Could it be the vaccines? We have seen thousands of reported serious adverse reactions and death, while the media still pretends they are very rare.
Dr. Reinhard Fulmils and his group of 100 international lawyers, he says he has heard over 150 expert witnesses and says there are irrefutable proofs of crimes against humanity. Some batches contain very dangerous toxins, while some batches contain only salt water.
In this way, it takes a maximum of time until people realize what's going on. That's why we have to keep on informing our neighbors, our friends, and our families, because we care about them and we care about their children. Protect the children! 3 times!
Protect the children! Protect the children! Protect the children! But there's light coming in, both on heaven and on earth. And here are all the positive signs that have come up very recently that show us that the tide is turning. And once it's starting to turn, it's gonna turn fast. Yeah! On Wall Street, the value of Pfizer and Moderna has fallen 30% in only 2 weeks.
And in UK and Mexico, they have removed all COVID restrictions last week. No vaccine requirement. Woo! Yeah! No vaccine requirement. No vaccine passport. No mandatory testing, and no masks or quarantines.
In Canada, the government has tracked over 80% of the population since COVID began. Canada is one of the worst countries with the most suppressive COVID politics, but now, in December, they had to admit it to the public.
Dr. Fauci is publicly being exposed and shamed for his involvement in the crime.
The pedophile ring among important politicians in Australia is being exposed, and it's being public knowledge now. Up until now, 28 politicians have been exposed for pedophilia.
Prince Andrew is being stripped of all his royal and military titles and has to sell his luxury Swiss property in order to pay for the upcoming lawsuit. He's being accused of pedophilia.
We start to see the manipulation behind the scenes in all its cruelty.
Oh my God, do we want a global mafia? Is this what we have?
No, we don't want it, but we might have it.
And more people are waking up and refusing to carry out orders. More and more health personnel is speaking up. The official narrative is crumbling, and the public support for the corona measure is ebbing out our way. In the US, only 10% of the population trusts the mass media and their COVID information.
And during the first week of this year, CNN lost 90% of its audience. Yay! That's what critical mass can do! Mainstream media is just starting to feel the pain of their lies all this time. What will you do, all you mainstream journalists, when people don't pay attention to your stories anymore? We will do better without you!
In Norway, many people still refuse to believe anything else than the mainstream media. But even here, new people are waking up every day.
According to the Norwegian lawyer Barbro Paulsen, we actually might outnumber those who believe in the mainstream narrative, even in Norway. And she has some numbers to back this estimate up. She has more foundation for this than most of us do, because every day she gets many phone calls from people who don't want to pay their fines, who don't want to accept mass testing, and who want to keep their shops open. People are waking up!
When injustice becomes law, civil disobedience becomes a duty.
We will soon start our program of speakers and music. But let's remember, while we fight this war for freedom, we have never been more lonely than during the pandemic. More and more of our communication is over the internet. And we know that everything is being recorded and put into algorithms. From Facebook, our email, our transactions, everything on the internet. And that's exactly how our enemy wants things to be. No space in which to behave like a human. Treat the human like a robot. So, while we fight for freedom, while we want freedom, we have to remember that freedom and empowerment for humanity comes from being together. There's a saying that a problem can never be solved on the same level of consciousness that it was created. So that's why
We urge people to find each other, to go somewhere and to go together. When this demonstration is over, exchange phone numbers, you know?
yeah, don't be shy. We're all good enough. We're all more than good enough and more than okay. And I believe we don't have time to wait 6 months to get a phone number like it's usually the custom here in Norway.
So, with all this said, we want to welcome our first speaker. And she's a young woman with a great passion for the creative arts. She has studied acting and film in South Africa. Today she will perform a self-written poem about her experience of living during this time. It is dedicated to her peers.
Please welcome Maeva Semelin. She looks very much like me and I'm very proud of it.
Is it working? Yes. I liberate myself. I stand here on my own, feeling the wind rattle my bones. Even though I'm young, and I don't understand this mad world that is constantly figuring itself out while I'm also trying to figure myself out, I do know who I am. I know why I came here. I know what it feels like to be alive. And I also know what it feels like to be sort of dead. To drift in this space of dullness and depression, incapable of reaching the human heart. This void terrifies me. But when I embrace it, I strip away everything that doesn't feel true. It doesn't feel true to me to tiptoe around your fear. I respect you, but I refuse to play by these rules. I refuse to ignore my instincts to make you comfortable. If you're scared, I release, but because you are scared, I stifle, I hold, and I suffocate. I can't breathe through this mask. The heat rises, I feel stuck, I need air, I can't hear you, I can't see you, I can't feel you, and nothing I say comes out the right way. So I swallow my words. I suppress my opinions because I am terrified of your judgment. I sanitize my hands until my skin cracks and bleeds. I take 1 billion tests and I don't hug the people I love because they have come to believe that love is dangerous.
doing this. I can't keep pretending to be scared because I'm not. I came here to live for God's sake. I want to dance in a crowd of sweaty people to the rhythm of heartbeats. I want to sing, flirt, embrace, and throw my head back, watching the stars with you. I came here to feel everything. I came here to play, explore, and I came here to love. I was given 2 eyes to see, a mouth to speak, and hands to touch. I did not come here to stare at a screen. I did not come here to cover my mouth. I did not come here to keep my hands to myself. Because we are alive. Can you feel that? Can we honor that? As children, we want to save the world. We want to make it better. When we come here, we know why. But then it's like we forget. Over the years, we succumb to a system that makes us believe we are consumers when in fact it's our souls, our human heart that is being consumed.